Hi everyone, this is HM&S video number 56 and you are most welcome for it. Last video we talked about how to do logical tests in Excel. Today we want to use that very knowledge and we start talking about how to use logical functions in Excel. Now today we are going to start by looking at how to use the if function in Excel. Now the most important thing that we are going to learn today is how to do the nested if. That's how to nest the if functions together. Let's switch on to Excel and we dive deeper into how to use the if function. Now in order for you to understand what we are going to do in this video very well, I recommend that you first watch our last video, that is HM&S video number 55, where we talked about how to do the logical test, because we are going to use that very knowledge to do the if function. Now we have a target of $2,000. That means if you generate a revenue of $2,000 and above, it means you met the target. And if your revenue is less than $2,000, it means you did not meet the target. Now what we are going to do here, we want to use the if function to actually locate for us those who have met the target and those who did not meet the target. So if your revenue is $2,000 and above, we want the if function to deliver for us met target. But if your revenue is less than $2,000, we want the if function to deliver for us didn't meet the target, and we are going to do that on this column here. Now before we do that, let's just remind ourselves how we did logical tests last video. So I'm going to click on this cell and we're going to do equals to. So we are going to check, is this revenue greater than or equals to the target, which is $2,000. Now since I'm going to copy my formula down, I'm going to lock the target using the F4 key so that when I copy my formula down, this cell reference will not move. Now as we learned last video, when you do a logical test like this, you get only two options, either true or false. So let's control enter. And then when I copy my formula down, you can see I'm getting true or false. So that's actually how you do a logical test. Knowing that you get these two options is actually very important, true or false. So let's click on this cell and we start doing the if function. So I'm going to do equals to if. When I see it highlighted in blue, I'm going to hit tab to select it. Now the if function has three arguments. We have the logical test, the value if true, and then the value if false. Now for the logical test argument, we do it the same way that we have been doing it since last video. Now the value if true argument, you put what you want the if function to deliver for you in case the logical test comes out true. And on the value if false argument, you put what you want the if function to deliver for you in case the logical test comes out false. So let's start by doing the logical test on the logical test argument. So we are still going to ask the same question we did here. So I'm going to do, is this revenue greater than or equals to the target? So I'm going to click on the target. I'm going to lock it using the F4 key. Now comma to go to the value if true. So if the logical test comes out true, we want the if function to deliver for us met target. So I'm going to click on met target. Again, since I'm going to copy my formula down, I'm going to lock it using the F4 key. Now comma to go to the value if false argument. Now in case the logical test comes out false, we want the if function to deliver for us didn't meet target. So on the value if false argument, I'm going to click on didn't meet target. Again F4 to lock it. So I'm going to close my bracket. Now when I control enter and then I copy my formula down, you can see I'm getting met target and then didn't meet target. So whenever you're seeing true here, it means the logical test we did on the if function also came true. So you can see whenever you're seeing true here, we are having met target, and if you're seeing false, we are having didn't meet target. So that's actually how you do the if function. Now let's also scroll down and we see how we can do the nested if. We have the same table here, but this time around, we have added one more column, that is the region column. So we want to come to this tax column, and then we assign the tax depending on the region where the sales agent are coming from. Now when the agent is from northern region, we want to assign or impose the tax of 2% on the revenue generated by that agent. When the agent is from eastern region, 3%, and when the agent is from western region, 5%. So I'm going to click on this cell and do equals to if. When I see it highlighted in blue, I'm going to hit tab to select it. Now for the logical test, we're going to do the logical test on the region column. So we are going to check, or we are going to ask, if this region is equals to northern. I'm going to hit the F4 key to lock this northern. Then comma for value if true. If the region is equals to northern, we want to assign a tax of 2%. So I'm going to click on this 2%. Again, I'm going to lock it using the F4 key because I'm going to copy my formula down. Now, comma for value if false. Now I want you to realize something here. We have only one argument left here, but we still have two conditions to go. So that's where you nest another if. Now when we say nested if, it means we are putting the if function inside another if function. So we have the first if function here. Now since we still have two conditions to go, we're going to put another if function inside this if function. That's what we mean by nesting if, or nesting a function. Putting one function inside another function. So I'm going to put another if inside this if. So if, when I see it highlighted in blue, I'm going to hit tab to select it. Again, for the logical test, we're going to do the second condition. We're going to ask if this region is equals to eastern. I'm going to lock this eastern using the F4 key and then comma. Now value if true or value if it's eastern, we want to assign a tax of 3%. So I'm going to click on this 3% and lock it using the F4 key. Since we have only one condition left now, that's if the region is equals to western, we can now do comma to go to the value if false, and we just say if the value is false, that means the region is not northern and the region is also not eastern. So we have only one option left, that is western. That means we can simply put on the tax for that last condition, which is this one here. So I'm going to click on this 5% and lock it using the F4 key. So I'm going to close my bracket on the first if function, close my bracket on the second if function. So when I control enter, and then I copy my formula down, you can see it's actually working very well. Whenever the region is northern, we're seeing 0.02, that is 2%, eastern, 3%, then western, 5%. So that's actually how you do the nested if. Now let's scroll down and we see one more example. Now here we have this table which is showing Nigeria's last home matches. So we have the home team, which is actually Nigeria throughout because we are talking about home matches. We have the scores for the home team. Then we have the scores for the away team. These are the away teams. And then here we are going to put the results for Nigeria. So if the score for Nigeria is greater than the one for the away team, we are going to put here win. If the score for Nigeria is less than the score for the away team, then we are going to put here lost. And if the score for Nigeria is equals to the score for the away team, then we are going to put here draw. But of course, we are going to use the if function to put those results. So I'm going to click on this cell and do equals to if. When I see it highlighted in blue, I'm going to hit tab to select it. Now for the logical test, we're going to do is the score for the home team, that is Nigeria, click, greater than the score for the away team, which is this, and then comma, value if true. Now this time around we don't have the win, loss and draw typed anywhere, so we're going to type it on the formula. For the value if true argument here, we want the win. Now anytime you're putting a text in a formula, you need to put it in double quotes. So I'm going to open quotation and type win and then close quotation. Now comma to go to the value if false. Now we still have two options left, so we are going to nest the if, the second if inside this if. So I'm going to do if, tab to select it. Now the second logical test we are going to ask is the score for the home team, that is Nigeria, click, less than the score for the away team, that is this score here, and then comma. Now for the value if true, we want the if function to deliver for us lost. So I'm going to open quotation and type lost, close quotation. Now comma to go to the value if false argument. This time around we have only one option left, that is draw. We can simply put it in the value if false argument. That is the only option we have left now. So in case the first two logical tests come out false, that's when the value if false argument will be delivered, and we want draw. So I'm going to open quotation and type draw and then close quotation. Now I'm going to close my bracket on the first if function and then close my bracket on the second if function. So when I control enter and then copy my formula down, you can see it's actually working very well. Now here we were typing the text in a formula. Let's also see how we can type a number in the formula. Now what we're going to do on this last column here, we're going to put there the point gain. That is, if the score for Nigeria is greater than the score for the away team, that will be a win, and we want the if function to deliver for us 3 points. If the score for Nigeria is less than the score for the away team, that will be a loss, and we want the if function to deliver for us 0 point. And if the score for Nigeria is equals to the score for the away team, that will be a draw, and we want the if function to deliver for us 1 point. So I'm going to click on this cell and do equals to if. When I see it highlighted in blue, I'm going to hit tab to select it. The first logical test is going to be, is the score for Nigeria greater than the score for the away team, which is this one here, and then comma. So if that's true, that will be a win, and we want the if function to deliver for us 3 points. Now this time around, remember we are typing a number, so when you are typing a number inside the formula, you don't need to put it in quotes. It's only text that you need to put it in quotes. So I'm simply going to type there 3 and then comma. We're going to nest the second if, so I'm going to type there if, tab to select it. We are going to do the second logical test. If the score for Nigeria is less than the score for the away team, which is this one here, we want 0 points. So I'm going to type comma to go to the value if true, and then we type there 0. Now I'm going to type comma to go to the value if false. Now for the value if false, we have the last option, which is draw, and for draw we want 1 point. So I'm going to type there 1 for the value if false. So when I close my bracket on the first if function, close my bracket on the second if function, and then control enter, and then double click to copy my formula down. You can see for draw we have 1 point, for win we have 3 points, and then for lost we have 0 points. So it's actually working very well. So that's actually how you can use the if function in Excel. Yeah, that is it for this particular video. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe, and if you found this video interesting, give it a like, and then you share it with your friends. This is a playlist that's having all the videos about logical functions that we have talked about. You can click on it, then you go and watch it. Until next video, HM&S video number 57, then we meet again. Thank you.